Okay, so U.S. forces launched another wave of attacks on Iran as the ceasefire ends and hostilities intensify. U.S. Central Command says about 90 military targets were hit. Iran says 14 people were killed over the last 2 days and dozens more wounded. They targeted U.S. bases in the region in response. And you heard that their air raid sirens were activated in Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain, but no damage was reported. This escalation comes as President Trump continues to threaten Iran while claiming its leaders still want to talk.
I say we hit them 20 to 1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. We did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They got very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi is covering this for us in Washington. Olivia, good to see you today. So the president says Iran wants a deal, but any indication about if or when the two sides will resume talks?
Well, Mugo, it certainly is a good question. We don't know when those next round of talks is going to be. And in fact, the last round of talks weren't even direct talks between the U.S. and Iran. They were indirect talks. The U.S. was talking to officials from Qatar, and we saw the Iranians talking to officials from Pakistan. That is how much this has broken down, these negotiations between both sides. And really, ultimately, it's coming down to the Strait of Hormuz. We heard from Vice President Vance yesterday, who's serving as really the chief negotiator for the U.S. side, saying that if Iran would just stop shooting at those ships in the Strait of Hormuz, then they would be able to have these conversations. But if they do that, then the U.S. is going to continue striking them. So really, it's coming down to control over the strait. Of course, Iran is saying that they believe, as part of the MOU, that they actually do have control over the Strait of Hormuz, and that it wasn't specifically ironed out that the U.S. would be in control of it. The U.S. says that that is just not the case, and that's why we're seeing these tit-for-tat strikes. And even yesterday, the president said that he doesn't know if the U.S. is going to return to a full-scale military war, but adds that if the U.S. did, it would end very quickly. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern right now. We don't know when the next round of negotiations will be, and we're waiting to see if there are going to be more strikes leading into the weekend. And of course, the oil markets are responding. The price of oil trending upwards, which is not what this White House wants to be seeing at this moment, but certainly speaks to just the chaotic nature of these negotiations at this point.
Yeah, Olivia, let's talk about the questions being raised about the new Air Force One. President Trump, he left Turkey yesterday on the old plane. So what do we know about the reason for that?
Well, the president says the reason why they did that was because troops at this base in the United Kingdom, where the U.S. would be stopping for a refuel on the way home, wanted to see the new Air Force One. The president said that they had asked for it, so therefore he took the old Air Force One, which is that iconic Kennedy blue, robin egg colored plane, back from Turkey to the UK, and they sent that new Qatari jet, which cost the American taxpayer about $400 million ahead of time. The president said that there was very little deviation on the flight pattern because he took the old flight home. However, several outlets have reported that the reason why they chose to do that was because of specific security concerns surrounding the new plane. If you'll remember, this plane just got delivered about 2 weeks or so ago, and it had been sped up for delivery to honor America's 250th birthday. So because of that, there perhaps were security concerns about this plane, given the fact that it would be flying close to the Iranian border as the president was tearing apart this MOU and restarting strikes in Iran. So there was an effort for safety in this case. We also got a statement from the White House Communications Director, Stephen Chung, who said that the new Air Force One is a state-of-the-art aircraft that has been fitted with high-level security protocols that ensure the safety of the president and his staff. He goes on to say, as the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal, including distraction and misdirection, to address those threats. So not specifically saying that there was a security threat, but certainly hinting at the fact that they were using some type of misdirection here in using the old Air Force One to fly the president out of Turkey and to the United Kingdom.
Yeah, we can read between the lines there. Olivia Rinaldi in Washington for us today. Thank you so much.